Okay, in this video, we are going to multiply rational expressions, and these are the two problems that we will solve together. But before we solve those two problems, it's important to look at the procedure. These are my 5 steps. Step 1 says identify the restrictions on x. Step 2 says factor the numerator and denominator. Step 3 says divide out common factors. Step 4 says multiply. And step 5 says restate your restrictions. So let's begin. This is our first problem. So we have to state our restrictions. And we know we can't divide by 0. So if x is -1, we're dividing by 0. So our very first step is to say x does not equal to -1 or this piece. Again, you can't divide by 0. So if x is -3, you get a 0 in the denominator, and you can't have that. So x does not equal to -3. Our next step says to factor the numerator and denominator. Instead of saying x squared minus 9, we can say x plus 3, close parentheses, x minus 3, and then we're going to close parentheses, divided by our denominator, x plus 1. But I can explain how we got this. X times x is x squared. 3 times -3 is -9. X times -3 is -3x. And then x times 3 is positive 3x, and negative 3x plus 3x is 0x. This is one of those perfect squares. Times, we'll do this piece. So we'll do our parentheses, x squared, we get it by x times x. Now we think to ourselves, what two numbers multiply to give us -10, but add to give us -3? And we can do that by -5 plus 2, because -5x plus 2x would give us -3x, and 2 times -5 is -10. So it's a match. Divided by, we have x plus 3. So our next step, maybe we can kind of clean up a little bit. So I'm going to write our numerators on top, and I'm going to combine them because this is multiplication. And for multiplication, we multiply the numerator with the numerator and denominator with the denominator. So here I'm just rewriting it into one single fraction divided by x plus 1 and then x plus 3. And looking at our steps, we already did step 1. We identify the restriction for x, so what can't we divide by. Step 2 says factor the numerator and denominator. We did that. Now we're going to divide out common factors. I guess I switched step 3 and 4. I first multiplied and then I'm going to divide. Minor thing. So what I'm going to do now is divide out the common pieces. So we have x plus 3 and an x plus 3. We cancel it. And now we're just going to rewrite this and restate our restrictions. So we can say parentheses x minus 3, close parentheses, x plus 2, close parentheses. Then we have x minus 5, close parentheses, and the whole thing being divided by x plus 1. And then we got to restate our restrictions. So earlier we said that x cannot equal to -1 or x cannot equal to -3. We just have to rewrite that. And so on the side you could say x does not equal to -1 or x does not equal to -3 as our restrictions. And so this right here is our final answer. Okay, this will be our second problem. We'll do the same procedure. We want to identify the restrictions on x. So what value of x makes the denominator 0? For this piece, if x is -3, we get -3 plus 3 is 0, and we can't divide by 0. So x does not equal to -3, or this piece, x does not equal to -2. Both of these values, if you have it, then you're dividing by 0, and you can't divide by 0. Step 2 says factor the numerator and denominator. So instead of saying x squared minus 4, we could say x plus 2, close parentheses, x minus 2. Again, 2 times -2 is -4, and 2 minus 2 is 0. Divided by our x plus 3 term times, now we got to factor the numerator. So x and x, because x times x is x squared. Now we think to ourselves, what two numbers multiply to give us -3, but add to give us 2? Well, we could do positive 3 and -1, because 3 times -1 is -3. -1 plus 3 is positive 2. then this whole thing divided by our denominator, which is x plus 2. At this point, if you want, you could divide out common factors. So here is an x plus 3. We can cancel it with this piece. And this is an x plus 2. We can cancel it with this piece. Now our next step is to kind of clean it up a little bit. So we eliminated a denominator. Now we just have numerators. So we have x minus 2 times x minus 1. And our final thing is to state the restriction, which we said right here. X does not equal to negative 3 or x does not equal to negative 2. And this right here is our final answer. And that's all we need to do to multiply rational expressions.